Hi there, my name is Madi and I'm a Colorado knitter. This is my YouTube channel all about knitting, yarn, and what I've been making. I hope you enjoy, and I have a lot of random stuff to share today, which I'm very excited about. But today is May 3rd, it's a Friday, 2024. Still chilly outside in Colorado. But I'll get started with what I'm wearing. I am wearing the DRK Everyday Sweater by Andrea Mowry. It's one I've knit a while ago, so I can't share too many details because I don't remember. And this is the pattern page, DRK Everyday Sweater by Andrea Mowry. And I actually used the same wool as she used in this picture, which is Mountain Meadow wool. It's a sport weight, 100% merino. And I love the marl look. So it is a circular yoke, so it does kind of bunch up on me sometimes. As I learn, I prefer a raglan sleeve, or I need to make a bigger size for the circular yokes for myself. But I definitely love it. It has long cuffs on the sleeves. It fits very snug. I can actually wear it under another sweater for the really cold days because it kind of fits like a underlayer for me. But I really like it. I wear it a lot. It's been an awesome sweater. I really enjoyed working with this yarn, and I have another marled yarn I'm working with right now that I'll share. But I love the aesthetic it gives off, and working with it, it's just somehow it's soothing as it makes the fabric. But I've really enjoyed it. So that's what I'm wearing. A little bit about our last few weeks. Our middle son had quite the couple weeks. Jake is gonna be 16 soon, but he knocked his head against a lacrosse goal and ended up getting 4 stitches. And then about a week and a half later, he got hit in the head at school and it was a total accident, just head-to-head collision, and ended up getting a concussion. So there's been a lot of sitting around and watching Jake to make sure he was okay. So there's quite a bit of knitting and quite a bit of casting on because I soothe myself that way because I can be anxious and I don't want to be annoying. So I'm like, I'm chill, I'm cool. It's up in my head, I'm casting on all the things so that I can distract myself from my injured babies. But other than that, everyone's on the mend and everything is going well. So I'm super excited to be able to chat with you guys. I will start with my first finished object. And the only finished object I have today. I do have some sewn finished objects that I'll show in a bit, but as far as knitting goes, I only have one finished object. And this is the Woolens and Nosh March socks, which are super fun. I think it's Michelle, and it's Woolens and Nosh, and she named this colorway Spring Forward. And Colorado does change the clock. Arizona doesn't, but which I was reminded of as I kept calling people early and texting too early. But this is the Spring Forward sock, and I think in the last podcast I might have said that this was BFL yarn, but it's Targhee, so 90% Targhee and 10% nylon. I love this base so much. It's plump, it's elastic, it's sturdy. For my vanilla socks, or usually I do vanilla for self-striping, I cast on 64 stitches with a German twisted cast on. I do some sort of ribbing till I'm done doing that ribbing. I don't have a good recipe that I always follow. This time it's 2x2 ribbing. And then just knit. I did a shadow wrap heel, which is from Socksploration Pattern. Earth Tones Girl has a wonderful YouTube channel, and she shares good tutorials on this heel as well. And then I actually use her sock, or rather her toe, formula as well. So these are nice and long. What I noticed is some of my jeans, in order for them to be the right length when I'm standing, they can kind of go up when I'm sitting. So I wanted to have some fun length to show on these socks. So that's done. This is quite the sock show. I'm very, very into socks right now, and you'll see all the different socks I got going on today. I also noticed that I'm using a lot of fingering weight yarn at least these past couple weeks, which I tend to use a lot of lightweight yarns. But I wanted to know a little bit more about what I was using, and so I'll share the very little that I learned about the yarns I'm using this week. So this one is the Targhee, and what I learned about Targhee is that it's a very resilient and elastic soft wool. It is an American breed sheep that was developed through crossbreeding. And if this is super nerdy and super boring, sorry, but I got super into it. I was like, what am I using and what do these sheep look like? So I will rant a little bit about it, about what I learned. So the Targhee is a crossbreed from Rambouillet, Lincoln, and Corriedale, which I love. I've never used Lincoln specifically, but I've used Rambouillet and Corriedale, and I love them both. So also made sense why I really liked Targhee. The base Targhee is named after a national forest in Idaho where the breed grazed. And that's what I learned about Targhee. As I discuss the other projects that I have used fingering weight with, I'll kind of do a little blurb about what I learned about that base. And hopefully you find that cool, but I thought it was really cool and interesting. I think I even took a picture of, or a screenshot of a Targhee sheep. Let's see. Oh, it's so cute. Look at this little guy. That's a Targhee sheep. So I thought that was really interesting, really cool. I mean, there's so much information that I could get really deeply invested in and research, and anyone out there who's interested can do the same, but it's really cool and it's kind of fun to know where your fibers are coming from. Okay, I keep looking down at my phone because I do have my notes there this time. Whenever I finish Michelle's Woolens and Nosh socks, I always wonder, and during the whole project wonder, what would it look like if I used a colorwork pattern with it? What would it look like in helical stripes? Oh, I really need some more shorty socks. So what would it look like as a shorty sock? So I had posted on Instagram that I had been wearing my little box socks. And these are in Stroll fingering weight from Knit Picks. And they're a little bit fuzzy and bally because I haven't washed them since I last wore them. But this pattern is little box socks from, or little boxes from Summerly Knits. And I love how they fit. They fit very, very well. Let me see, I'll show you the screenshot of the pattern so nothing gets lost. And I will link everything below. Down if you push more, there will be a description box with the links to these items that I'm talking about. But there's a little box, what is it called? Little boxes socks. And Summerly's brilliant with color choices. So as far as this went, I thought, I wonder if the self-striping would work in this pattern as well. Well, I did start it. I didn't save it because I didn't like what was happening with the yarn. So ideally it would be a little box with one of the colors, but I wasn't about to cut all of it and weave in ends. And so what had ended up happening my size was that I would kind of go into the next box with the same color as the first box. So I didn't really think it was giving the look I wanted. It wasn't as clean of a cut off. So I went back to my helical knitting, which is so fun and addictive. And this is gonna be the same shorty sock, but it's in helical knitting. And this time I used the leftovers from this, which it makes it look so different. And I used Michelle's Woolens and Nosh White, which is the same base, the Targhee base. And so here I have the one waist yarn for the forethought heel, which I believe is also called the peasant heel. And Summerlee's pattern is perfectly written, so it's very easy to follow, because this was the first time I had done the peasant heel. And so before I finish the whole foot, I will actually add the peasant heel and try it on so that I know when to start the toe. But essentially it'll be a little shorty like this. But I like the self-striping, and I'll still have so much. I could actually probably make at least two sets of the shorty socks in this. Okay, let's see what else we got for you. Okay, these, I think this was the first weekend when we were watching Jake, and I never want the boys to be hurt or wonder if they're okay, which is totally a normal thing, I think, but I needed to distract myself so I wouldn't be super annoying to everyone around me. And so I cast on these cute socks for Donnie, because he saw the pattern. I think it was Friday. I think it just came out that Friday. And he saw the pattern that I was looking at, and he said, I have to have those. And so that day I had to work on them and knit them. So I knit just one leg of the goose socks. They're actually called You Silly Goose socks, and they're by Stone Knits. And there's an excellent, really fun color work sock book by Stone Knits. But You Silly Goose socks are so cool. I love the boots. Those boots I even looked up, they're so cute. They wouldn't do well here in Colorado because it's so muddy and dirty, but they're so cute to show off your socks. But so my You Silly Goose socks are right here. This is my version, and they're big. They look really big, but with color work it doesn't stretch as much, which is hard when you put them on over your heel. But I just used some yarn I had in my stash. This is actually the Targhee that I just showed you in my helical socks, so it goes a long way. And then I had this blue and this green came together in Farmer's Daughter Sock Squad set, and it is Bear Paw sock, which is 70% superwash merino, 20% yak, 10% nylon. So the Farmer's Daughter Bear Paw sock, and this was November 2021. So the green and this blue. And then again, the duck, or the geese, I always say ducks. The geese are in the same natural Targhee. And then here's the Woolens and Nosh label. And this is the natural Targhee. And then the orange is a random Ranch 03 from Brooklyn Tweed that was in a sale bin at Colorful Yarns in Colorado. And it's called Poppy. But so, yeah, I really like them. What ended up stalling me out, like I usually do, because the exciting part was casting on and seeing these come alive. What I did was try them on Donnie to see if I needed to start the heel yet. And we felt like they were pretty short on him. So I think ideally it would be at least to add one more row of geese, but I might do two actually. And so I stalled out. And I put it in its little project bag and let it be. The project bag that I have it in, I can't even tell you what is my needle size on here. Oh, it's only a 1.5 needle for the color work on this one, but I think it's because I have like 80 stitches on the needle for this sock, so it's a bigger size sock due to the more stitches on the needle. Other color work socks that I've done in the past for myself are, I don't tend to go up in stitch amount, but I do go up in needle size, like even gone up to a size 3. I got a bunch of chaos showing here, but I will show you my project bag because it's really cute, but I won't be able to zip it up because I got yarn hanging out on the floor. But these are the Rainworks. I don't know if it'll show the embossing on the leather. And it is kind of like a waxed canvas, but not super oily. But I just love the pattern and it's so cute. And I tend to like the zippered bags. I know that your yarn can get stuck and stuff, but if I'm just throwing it, I don't want it to fall out. Throwing it like in the back of the car. And it has this cool little handle. But that's the project bag that my Silly Goose socks are in. I did notice that something that surprised me a little bit in the pattern was that she recommended catching the floats less often. So there are definitely some moments, there's some moments where there's 3 colors used in a row, and then there's some that have a bit of spacing, like kind of in this section. And so typically I would catch my float or do a ladder back jacquard to carry my floats, but it was interesting to hear that if you allow less catching the floats, there'll be more stretch in the sock, as long as you allow some of that tension to be loose in the back of the floats. So I thought that was interesting. Donnie has some wicked long toes, so I still am catching the floats a little bit because I don't want his toes to get stuck on him. But I did think that was kind of interesting. So I'll keep going. It's fun. You definitely want to finish a little goose row before you stop knitting on them. But I got excited about some other things that I'm going to show you. Okay. As far as the fiber in those, they're mostly merino. Yeah, this is a merino. The Rancho 3 is Colorado merino. The Bear Paw sock is superwash merino. And then the Woolens and Nosh is the Targhee. So as far as merino goes, what I learned is it is very popular because it's very soft, and it's very popular amongst the farmers or the breeders because you can get a lot of wool from a merino sheep, more than, so in one shearing you can get a lot more fiber than you could from maybe another breed. So I thought that was interesting. I did not know that. I saw that on northwestyarns.com, they have a resource called Know Your Fiber, which was kind of cool to be able to link and find out a little bit more about the fiber. And it goes into the history of the breed, which was super interesting to read about. Okay, so I have a new IG pal, and her name is Mariel, and she is so sweet and so kind, and I love her aesthetic. I'm fingers crossed that she starts YouTubing soon, but she lives up in the Bay Area, and Gabe is in school in California, so hopefully someday I'll get to meet her in person. But Mariel started, well, first of all, her Instagram is beautiful, and it's called What Mariel Made. And this is her IG account. And so she had posted this, just the cuff of the sock, so just the leg. And I fell in love and had to know where that pattern was from, where did she find it, how can I knit it, on and on and on. And she was so generous. She said she loves to look at colorwork charts on Pinterest, which never crossed my mind. And so you can go on to Pinterest, and I'll show you mine, because after she told me that, I went crazy with all the beautiful charts. This is my knitting Pinterest page. Let's see if I can figure it out. So you can see that I went a little cuckoo looking at all these charts. But she shared the chart that she got, which is this one. and it's 64 stitch chart, which is, well, it's a repeat of 32, so then it's 64 stitches for a sock. And this is my version of, so I have one. This is my version of the Mariel sock share. And so I used another kind of yarn. This is malabrigo, and I love it also. So I love non-superwash yarn, and I think I felt like I was under the false impression that I had to use, for a best result for color work, I needed to use non-superwash yarn. But this is superwash yarn, and I feel like the color work looks great in this sock. So it gave me the confidence to enjoy the non-superwash yarns I have, or rather the superwash yarns I have, and practice some color work with them. So this is malabrigo yarn, which I bought from my local yarn shop. I always forget the name. It's something You and Me Yarn Boutique is my local yarn shop. And I have to say, they do carry mostly superwash, so I don't go often. Oops, I'm so sorry. I don't go too often because I tend to gravitate towards non-superwash. But I wanted to find a very white, and I didn't realize that it's hard to find a white. And so you can see the difference between these two, as this is natural. It's not dyed that color, but it's a natural color. But this is a very beautiful white. So that drew me, and the white I have is malabrigo sock yarn, which is 100% superwash. And then this beautiful blue, I don't know if I'll be able to pronounce it, so I'll just show it to you. But this is an ultimate sock, which has nylon, 75% merino superwash, and 25% nylon. And there's the color. And I love the color because it reminds me of like the indigo dyed fabrics. You can kind of see like the lighter color that didn't take the dye as much. They look worn a little bit, but the color of that blue I love. And then with the white, it reminded me of, I think it's called Sun Dyeing, or let's see, it is Sun Printing. It reminded me kind of this look. So I'm really happy with these socks. They are 64 stitches. This time I did cast on with a German twisted cast on. I did the twisted rib. I think it's half twisted, where you twist only the knit stitches for not very long, just till I decided I wanted the color work to start. The color work I did in a US 3, which you can kind of see the difference here between the gauges. But I do find that they're a little snug getting over the heel, so I think it blocked out okay, where I'm glad I did that. I do make some fuzz when I'm first doing color work, and I think it's because I squeeze the yarn to scoot it down the needle, so my fingers kind of rub on that yarn, and it kind of weathers the area, because down here it doesn't look fuzzy at all. And the rest of the sock, I did the shadow wrap heel again with the same toe from Socksploration Socks, and the rest is just in a US 1 needle. But I'm very happy with these. I have the little cuff cast on for the second one because I think they're just super cute. So much so that now I really am into the simple patterns like this. This kind of aesthetic with the white. I love that look. And so I have so many thoughts for my next socks, but I will try to finish a few before I cast on more, because I can get myself overwhelmed. I thought for sure the blue would bleed. There's even a note, you know, just be careful, some of the dye could come off, and nothing. It didn't bleed at all. My water was clear after the 15-minute soak. yeah, I am very impressed. And it feels nice. I mean, it's super soft. This Malabrigo Superwash Merino is very, very soft. But I'm happy with how the color work turned out as well. Okay, let's see. Anything else? Let's see if I can show you my next, the Pinterest chart that I really loved right now. Kind of similar to this vibe. This one. I think it would look cute in the same kind of colorways. So super excited about Colorwork socks. Okay, I warned you that this is a sock show for sure. So I was watching Wool and Wishes, which is another YouTube channel where it's very entertaining. It's two sister-in-laws chatting about very unique knits, which I feel like they think out of the box, and it's fun to hear what they've been up to and their excitement. But I saw this set of socks and was reminded about the Lane. It's the big Lane sock book. It's the second edition, I believe. And these are called tennis socks, which they're super cute. But I kind of had it in my mind that I wanted them to look like hiking socks versus tennis socks. And so here's the pattern, and you can see them on Ravelry, but they are from the Lane sock knitting book. And I had originally been inspired to get these colors that I'm going to show you from Church Mouse Yarns. And I showed you last time, I think, or I posted on Instagram, where they're the marled black and white with an orange toe. And so I thought, oh yeah, the hiking sock look with maybe knitter on there would look super cute. And so I went for it. Again, I used this very, very white malabrigo yarn, which I used in here, so that it would really pop, and they're coming out great. So it says knitter with kind of the hiking vibe look. I even did ribbing down here. So I'm not following the pattern in the Lane magazine or Lane book, other than I used the chart for the letters. So this is my knitter hiking sock. And then walking moose, my brain thinking of all the things that I want to make and want to do, I thought I would use the chart to write Colorado. So you can see it says Colorado. So then I don't know if it's going to be the right direction for you, but I have Colorado knitter socks. So I'm super excited. They totally look like hiking socks. I will add the heel, and I'll do the toe in this orange color, but I'm super excited for these. I'm gonna have to put them on a barber cord and try them on to make sure I put the heels in the right place, so that when it shows, it can say it in the right order. But I love them. As far as the charts go, they do tell you in the pattern how to orient your heel so that knitter is shown correctly. But ooh, the options are endless because they give you the whole alphabet. So I'm sure you guys are definitely more savvy than I and can do this digitally, but I actually cut it out and taped it all together because I didn't know how else to do it. Now the only thing I learned doing it is, so this is a 64 stitch sock, and I could have gone to the bigger one because my last O in Colorado and my C are pretty darn close together. So if I had thought about it, so knitter has a good space between the K and the R. Didn't cross my mind. Just on the walk, I kept counting C-O-L-O-R to make sure it would fit. And it did fit, but it didn't cross my mind that there would be no space here. But I had done knitter first, and I wasn't gonna go back and change all of the letters here to get a bigger sock here, so it works. And it fits great, and it's very fun. And every time I see it, I smile, because let's see, this way, it's so cute. So about the yarn here, this, I don't have the label with me, I don't believe, but this is the Lambs, hang on, let me read what I wrote, because I'm going to say it all wrong. Lang Yarns Jawoll. And the jawoll comes in these, I don't even know what they call them, skeins, rolls, because you don't have to wind them. And this wool is a wool that is sourced from Cote, which I mentioned I tend to like Cote. And in jawoll, they use only the wool from the sheep from the Chilean Patagonia. And I didn't know this, but the great colors, which jawoll has every color wished for, it's beautiful colors, they take the dye really well, because it said that the sheep's wool stays white all year, so they can make these beautiful, beautiful colors. And here, he's really white. So this is the yarn, or the wool, the sheep that jawoll wool comes from. So I believe that's a Cote that's from the Chilean Patagonia. And it said that the wool stayed white because they have very limited food. So that was interesting. But it does make some beautiful, well, first of all, it's beautiful to touch. It's extremely soft. Again, I love the marled. So you can see here the marl I have where the word is just stockinette, but I have up here is 2x2 ribbing, and this is just cast on, the German twisted cast on with just the orange, no extra row or anything. And then I did the color work, and then down here I had initially done it just vanilla, where it just stockinette, but it didn't give me the hiking sock vibe, so I went back and I changed it to 3x1 ribbing, because I wanted it to still look marled and not interrupt it as much. So you can see the 2x2 versus the 3x1. It's there, but it's not as defined as this. So I like it. I love the marl. It feels really nice. And then when I was reading about the breed of sheep in jawoll yarn, I realized that I had once heard this, but I had no idea. Inside each of these hanks comes a reinforcement yarn. So I came over and dug this out. So this is a reinforcement thread, I guess, that you would add when you're doing your heel and your toe. So I will try that. It was seriously in here. Like I had no idea until I dug it out, and I can feel the other one in there, but I wouldn't have looked until I used up all the yarn, and I'll have a ton left. But it's very fun yarn. I think this would be cute in a muscle burrow hat, which would be super cute. It would be a lot of knitting, because it'd be a lot, but the finished product would be pretty amazing. So love these. I'm excited to do the heels now. I'll try them on and make sure they're long enough for what I'm looking for, because I don't want them to stretch too much on my calf, but I'm really excited about those. All right, let's see, do I have any other socks? No, I don't think so. Okay, moving on to test knits. I do have 2 test knits, possibly the last 2 before summer, as all the kids will be home, and we know that it gets a little busy and chaotic, and I want to enjoy all the moments. So the 2 test knits I want to show. One, I had never heard of, Yarn Pond, but Yarn Pond is a website where maybe designers who don't have as much exposure can post test knit calls, It has kind of like check marks on progress, has a chat, but yarn pond, and I'll link it below, but it was kind of cool to find that. I had never heard of that before. So I found a test knit that I wanted to do, and this is from, let me see, I took a picture because I won't remember otherwise. Just One More Thing, and she designed this with Colorado in mind and aspen trees, so I couldn't resist. She has a little note about it on her Instagram, which I'll find and read to you. She's gonna call it Fall Aspen Cowl. And I think that maybe she's saving that. Yeah, the little blurb about the pattern will be on when the pattern is released, and I believe it'll be released in June, which I can't believe it's May, but so this is my version. Her version is, let's see, these golds, which is really pretty. And mine, I went again with very strong contrast, and so this is going to be my version, and I'm using Mondim, which is another fingering weight. So it's Retrosaria Mondim yarn, and it's non-superwash, which I adore for color work. Again, I didn't realize how much whites are not white, but I still love this color combo. But it's really opened my eyes to the contrast of white. But I love the motif. So this is two different repeats of a same chart. It is a ladder back jacquard method as far as carrying the floats. And this is the first time a chart has had the jacquard location charted for me, which I really like, because sometimes I'm just making it up, and this was really nice to have it written out for you to the ideal place to place those jacquard floats, which I'll show you. They're really cool and magical. So it's these sections here is what ladder back jacquard looks like. So you're essentially carrying the laddering and the floats separately from the front of your work. It's really amazing and addictive, and it actually kind of acts like a place marker when you're working. I feel like it showed kind of where you are in the chart because you see it on the chart, the little ladder back notation. So I've done cowls where you finish it off this way. So I kind of was stumped for a second, and the designer responded immediately. And the idea is you actually fold it in, and the finished or the seamed edge will be on the inside, where the bottom would fold in as well, and you would seam it inside. So it is cast on provisionally, and here it is. And she has all the links for great video help. So I'm very excited. It feels awesome. I love the high contrast. It's woolly. So I felt like Mondim was similar to Puri with as far as the bounce, and that must be the twist. And so I could be totally wrong, but that's my guess. It reminds me a bit of Puri, but it's more rustic, so not nearly as soft as Puri. But I will wear this a lot, I think, especially in these colors that are just a staple color, I think. But excited about that as well. Let's see what else I had to tell you as far as that project goes. Now we've got fuzzy mouth. So yeah, she's gonna call it Aspen Cowl. Oh, I thought it would be fun. Maybe it won't work, but I could like duplicate stitch some of these with gold or a color that I decide. I may try that and see what it looks like, or just one sneaky one in the whole cowl. Okay, so Mondim yarn. Do I have a little tag? No, because this was just stash yarn again. So hopefully I have enough. Mondim is by Retrosaria, and it is 100% non-superwash Portuguese wool, and it's mostly from a Campanica sheep. And Mondim is actually named after a Portuguese village where they used to do a lot of sock, like a sock industry in that village. And it does have a high twist. So I'm curious if Puri has a high twist. Again, kind of got a little bit into where each yarn was from and all those things. But it could be a deeper dive than I did. But this is the cute Campanica breed of sheep. He has a smaller head, it looks like. But I thought that was really interesting as well. My second test knit is by one of the many favorite designers I have, Gudrun Johnston. She is releasing a tank. It is, so I don't usually wear a tank where my bra strap will show, but I had the vision of wearing this like if I wore a button-down denim shirt or something like that. We don't have air conditioning in our house, and unfortunately with climate change, it gets a lot hotter than I think it did when this house was built. And so the house gets hot. So I thought, oh, it'd be nice to have like something where I would put a long sleeve button down over to go out of house, but then if I get hot inside, I could just have this tank. But it is in lace weight, which is insanely small. The designer, Gudrun, her design is with Jamiesons of Shetland Ultra Lace, which is 50% Shetland and 50% lamb's wool. It seems like there's only 2 yarns that Jamiesons of Shetland makes it is blended, and this is one of them. It has that lamb's wool in it. So this is blocked. So I will say, not blocked, I was a little bit unsure about my stitches, but blocked, it definitely bloomed, has really nice drape, it's soft, and my hands don't seem to wear it out, which is nice, because some of the soft yarns, my hands can make it very pilly. I am using a size 3 needle, so this is a lot of knitting. It does have some darts. Let's see, I can kind of see it on this side, but I don't know if you can see it. So at these center markers, there's some darts because it's going to be more A-line at the bottom. So then once I get enough length on here, then the top is kind of a lace work it doesn't seem see-through, but just a textured top here with a square neck, and then some thin straps. So I liked the white idea, again, to really use it like a camisole and to use it under button downs or a Levi jacket. We'll see. It's a lot of knitting on this lace weight, but I think it's gonna hold up perfectly, because if my hands can't wear it out, then it's gonna last forever. And her test knit is run on Google Docs, and so she's very organized that way, and it's been enjoyable as they all are. I feel like test knits are kind of just like a knit along, which you get to enjoy other makers and creators and see the combinations that people come up with and learn about fibers that you're not actually working with, but a same project is being worked with that fiber. As far as Jamiesons of Shetland, it's a family-owned yarn industry, and it's 5 generations long, and I think Gudrun's family is part of that gene line, I guess. I don't know for sure, but she's gonna be one of the next knitstars, which will show the Shetland countryside and a lot of those special moments in her background, I think. Okay, I will now show you some sewing, which I love sewing, and I used to sew a lot more. I find, I think I love, so I like sewing and I love knitting. So I can't fill the day with both things because there's not enough time. But I would say that I think for me, my brain definitely can understand the knitting more. So it's a little harder for me to sew things. Plus, I can unravel knitting, and then when I sew something and cut it, it's already cut. So then I'm like, oh shoot, I messed up. So it's a lot more forgiving for me to unravel a knit project. But I will show you what I made, which I'm pretty excited about. So I have, like I said, I did sew a lot more, maybe even 5 to 10 years ago, a lot, like just sewing. And so I had sewn this patchwork piece that's crazy. It's like, I mean, it's like sewn strips, then cut the strips, and then sew them again, and then cut them, and then sew them again. So it's all mix mash of these sewn strips. And so when I saw that Helen's Closet came out with this cute orbit bag, I'll show you. This is the Instagram handle, Helen's Closet. And she created this darling orbit bag, which I'm totally gonna make with that star too. But I had that panel of scrappy quilting on my bulletin board, which is over there. And I've had it there for 10 years. So probably was dusty, but I thought, you know what? Let me just make that into something that I can wear instead of hanging on my bulletin board forever. And so I made the orbit bag. And it's far from perfect, but it was fun to make regardless, even though I made lots of errors that I'll tell you about. But this is my orbit bag. It's a great size. It's like a little canteen, those old canteen bags. And it has a pocket on the back, which I did test. You can totally fit a ball of yarn back there. Let's see if I can show you one. So I did try it out. You can fit a cake of yarn if you want to keep it there, or you can keep it in the big part, because I think the idea is maybe phone or keys, but that's super handy. It does fit well, which I'll post more of me wearing it on Instagram, but it hugs the body really nicely, so I can imagine it being real useful. There is a pocket inside. I haven't finished my edges inside yet, because you can use some bias tape or you can zigzag, and when I was done, I was done. So I haven't finished that edge yet, but there is a little pocket in here. And I had this strap. I don't know why my drawers are so weird, but I had this strap in my drawer. Don't know what bag this came off of, but so instead of making my strap, I did put these little D-rings, I think they are, on the bag, and hopefully they stay put. And then I use the strap, which I like very much. So I do like it. After I struggle through a sewing pattern, I can feel confident to make it again, and I will make it again. Helen's Closet patterns are fantastic. I'm just very impatient, and so the idea is to quilt all your fabric, then cut the pattern pieces, then sew them. Well, instead I'm like, okay, have this quilted, so what do I connect it to next? And then I quilt this piece, so it's already cut, and then I cut and quilt this piece instead of having it all laid out, ready to sew all at once. So it's my brain that makes me confused that way. But I really think it's fun. I'm super excited. I will definitely use it. I love it very much. I will absolutely make another one. I kind of wondered, I had ideas of like a sashiko embroidered panel. I thought it would be cute if like something was coming out of here embroidered. And then I thought wax canvas, could that work? So there's a bunch of options, but it's very, very cute, well-written pattern, and it fits really nicely against the body. So that's one item that I sewed. Let me check if I wrote anything else out. Oh, I did try the Elmer's glue as far as, so these pieces, there is batting inside, like quilter's batting. And so I did try the glue, and then I think I have my brush, yeah. And so here's the little foam brush that I had mentioned in another video, that you you squiggle your glue, then you can smooth it out with this. And the glue did come out pretty good out of this little brush with Dawn soap. And I had let it dry and crust over and everything. So it did come out pretty good. I did, some of them I didn't even brush, I just let the squiggle be, and then ironed it on there, and it didn't bug it at all. And this is light colored, so the glue didn't show through once it dried. I was a little hesitant because when it was wet, I could see it, but it's gone. I liked it. It was good. So I didn't use pins at all for this. So I will definitely continue to use Elmer's glue. Let's see. Oh, I also tried the 3M tape on the pattern pieces, which this won't give anything away, but you can see that I used it here. And it's pretty good. You can fold it. It's not going anywhere. And I did the same even for when I did the Colorado letters. So I do like that. So verified that those things did work for me. I'd be curious to know if you guys tried them out or anyone out there has some other tips. The other thing I made was, again, I tend to have just like improv quilting pieces pinned to my bulletin board, because sometimes I just want to piece something but not do anything else. And so I had a few of these, and so I made this zipper bag with no plan. Just, I've made zipper pouches before with patterns, and this one I just made it without measuring. I had this little panel of patchwork, so then I just added until I decided I wanted that size. And then this is wax canvas on the bottom. Now I have to say it's a little tall, so it's nice that you can fold it and kind of use it like a little basket. But I think it could be shorter and wider, I think would be better. So it's a little bit tall for knitting. The boxed bottom is only a little over 2 inches. So I also think a wider box bottom is better. But it was fun to make. I did put in 2 pretty deep pockets because I'm a huge, this fell out, sorry for my reach, huge fan of the thread and maple on the goes, which I just put in every bag. So I wanted to have a pocket for that. And sometimes I need my 32-inch US 1 needle for heels and toes for my socks. So I do like it. And let me go over this little on the go a little more. So thread and maple makes this on the go, which is a perfect size with almost everything you need. Has 2 tapestry needles. I just ordered this, which is a tiny crochet stitch fixer, and it's made out of wood, but it does fit really beautifully there. And then there's scissors fit there, and then there's a few stitch markers in here. But I tend to have these anytime I take my knitting to go. So I was having fun with this bag, and so I possibly will hang these up on my bulletin board till I'm ready to make another bag. I did want to let you know that I as I mentioned, get to go to Rhinebeck, and I get to go to Flock Fiber Festival, which is in Seattle in August. So I am super excited, and I'm super excited to meet people in person that I've recently connected with on Instagram and YouTube. And I love to give people gifts. So maybe it's silly, but I couldn't resist when I saw Sticker Mule made pins and stickers. And so I want to be able to give people gifts that I meet in person and that I see. And so they did such a good job. So this is Sticker Mule, but this is a pin and it's acrylic. But I feel like they did such a great job with the really cute motif that Ian had created for me on a computer. And so I have a bag of a few of them, and then the sticker came out great too. And Ian's amazing because I have no clue how he did this, but here's the Colorado knitter sticker. So hopefully it's not over the top, but I love sharing gifts with people, and I thought that would be a easy way to do share a little bit of Colorado knitter with you. Okay, so let's see what else I have to say. Oh, so we have the Premier YouTube membership, and originally we got it because our kids watch YouTube, so I wasn't wanting them to watch too many advertisements. So then I totally spaced and forgot that ads even come up on YouTube, which I'm very grateful that I had a viewer comment and let me know, because I didn't know and I wasn't aware. So I tried to change my account to be able to place the ads that come on YouTube for those who don't have a subscription to YouTube. And let me know if it worked. I think Needles at the Ready were so generous with their time and their experience, and they mentioned that you can kind of clump all the ads in one place. So I'm going to try to do that, and hopefully I understood that correctly. But sorry about that. I will try to adjust that on my end as much as I can, and I really appreciate you letting me know. So thank you so much for that. Finally, what I saw on Ravelry that really caught my eye this week, as the warmer weather is coming, was Under Lace Top by Lily Kate France. I feel like I actually have t-shirts that are like this, but I think that's so cute. It is a fingering weight, but really interested in that. And then what I've been watching, you can't laugh, maybe you guys are watching too, but I started Grey's Anatomy all over again from the very, very beginning, and I've been watching it and listening to it constantly as I make. It's a pretty good show. I kind of forgot how good season 1 was, and then when O'Malley died, oh, it's a good show. So I've been enjoying Grey's Anatomy. But hopefully you had as much fun as I did sharing with you. I'm super excited about the new pals I've made, virtual pals, and hopefully I get to meet some more people at Flock Fiber and Rhinebeck. All right, thanks. See ya.